glances away from the road for a moment. In that instant, a truck slams into her car, sending it rolling into a ditch. Michelle awakens in a confined space, discovering a head injury and a saline drip attached to her arm. Disturbingly, she finds her leg chained to a pipe. Using the saline drip pole, she attempts to reach her phone for help, only to realize there's no signal. Shortly after, a man named Howard appears and explains that he rescued her from a car accident and is keeping her safe. He provides her with wooden crutches to aid her mobility due to her leg injury, advising her to get good on those before departing the room. Michelle starts carving the tip of one of her crutches, sharpening it into a makeshift weapon to use against Howard. When Howard next appears, Michelle attempts to stab him with a sharpened crutch. However, her attack fails as Howard quickly overpowers her and sedates her. When Michelle regains consciousness, Howard calmly explains that there has been an attack on the surface, rendering the air unbreathable. He tells her he brought her down to the bunker beneath his farm for her safety. To show her the situation outside, Howard takes Michelle to the airlock. Although nothing seems unusual at first glance, Michelle notices Howard's truck with red paint on the side, recognizing it as the same truck that hit her. From the bedroom, Michelle hears a clattering sound from outside. Howard rushes out and starts yelling at someone off screen. Curious, Michelle leaves the room and discovers a younger man named Emmett, whose arm is broken. Howard explains to Michelle that Emmett accidentally knocked over a shelf stocked with a week's worth of food. Emmett, appearing more friendly than Howard, explains that he voluntarily joined Howard in building the bunker. He recounts witnessing the attack, describing a red flash in the sky and his frantic rush to get inside, which resulted in his broken arm. Howard makes Michelle and Emmett join him for dinner, insisting they act like a family. During the meal, Michelle engages in a lighthearted, somewhat flirty conversation with Emmett, which provokes an angry response from Howard. He sternly warns them not to behave that way. When Howard isn't looking, Michelle discreetly grabs his keys. Suddenly, a rumble overhead distracts everyone, giving Michelle the chance to smash a beer bottle over Howard's head. She runs to the airlock and tries to escape. While Michelle stands inside the airlock, Howard begs her not to go outside. Just then, a car arrives, and a middle-aged woman approaches, pleading to be let inside. Michelle notices the woman's skin is deformed from an infection. Howard insists Michelle shouldn't let her in. The woman becomes agitated, banging her head against the glass door, desperately trying to get inside. Now fearing that Howard might have been right about some sort of chemical weapons attack, Michelle begins to take his warnings seriously. Howard apologizes for his previous behavior and confesses to hitting her car. He becomes more amiable, allowing Michelle to borrow clothes belonging to his late daughter Megan, whom he fondly remembers. He then asks Michelle to help him by stitching up the wound on his head caused by the broken bottle. Later, he shows Michelle a cherished photograph of Megan, sharing a glimpse of his past. Over the next several days, the trio gradually grow closer and start functioning like a makeshift family within the confines of the underground bunker. During this time, Michelle and Emmett also develop a bond. Emmett opens up about his regrets, revealing how he had an opportunity to play sports for a university but chose to stay in town due to fear. In turn, Michelle shares a personal story from her past, traces of blood on the letters L and P. As Michelle investigates further, she discovers 2 bloody earrings on the floor, recognizing them from the picture of Megan that Howard had shown her earlier. Shocked and disturbed, Michelle shares her findings with Emmett. Emmett recognizes the girl in the picture as Brittany, a former classmate from high school who had gone missing some time ago. Realizing the danger they are in, Michelle and Emmett come to the chilling realization that Howard is not who he appears to be and poses a significant threat. They must find a way to escape the bunker as soon as possible. Michelle and Emmett pilfer Howard's tools to craft an improvised biohazard suit and gas mask. Upon finding his tools missing, Howard retaliates by bringing out a vat of pyloric acid to dissolve them. He confronts them about the attempted theft of his gun. Emmett confesses that he did it in hopes that Michelle would regard him as she does Howard. After a moment, Howard pardons Emmett, only to unexpectedly shoot him. Michelle completes assembling the suit and attempts her getaway. Howard intercepts her, but she shoves a vat of acid in his direction, causing him to slip and fall into it face first. Seizing the opportunity, she climbs over and heads towards the exit. The acid corrodes an electrical wire, igniting a fire. Howard pursues Michelle, and she topples a shelf onto him before climbing through the vents towards the filtration room. Howard thrusts a knife through the vents in pursuit. Upon reaching the end, he grabs hold of Michelle, but she retaliates by slamming his hand with enough force to escape. Michelle dons the suit and gas mask, preparing herself to venture outside. On the surface, under a calm and sunny sky, Michelle spots Howard's truck and hurries towards it. As she does, her homemade hazmat suit tears, causing her to panic momentarily. Swiftly, she retrieves duct tape from her belongings and patches up the suit. Moments later, she hears the chirping of birds above and decides to remove her mask. Standing atop Howard's truck, she surveys her surroundings and notices what appears to be a helicopter in the distance. Suddenly, the bunker explodes with a deafening roar, drawing the attention of the aircraft. As it approaches closer, Michelle realizes with a jolt that it's not a helicopter at all, but an immense alien hovercraft descending from the sky. The craft drops an object to the ground before veering away swiftly. Michelle leapt into the truck, her movements frantic as she searched for the keys, but they were nowhere to be found. Suddenly, a memory struck her, and she sprinted towards the car. Her attempt to enter triggered the alarm, and the lights began to flash. The commotion attracted an alien creature on the ground, prompting Michelle to flee back to the safety of a nearby wooden shed. From there, she cautiously peered out and witnessed the alien lifting the car, then turning its attention to attack the shed. Desperate, Michelle searched the lifeless body of a woman nearby for the car key fob at the car, deactivating the alarm. The alien withdrew from the barn, giving her a brief window to crawl out through the flap door and bolt towards a farmhouse nearby, the alien hot on her heels. As she approaches the front of the house, a colossal alien craft emerges from behind it, causing the ground creature to flee. The craft ascends slowly, releasing a noxious green gas as it moves towards Michelle. Panicking, Michelle races back to the truck and hastily dons her mask. She enters the truck, avoiding the ground creature. The alien spacecraft approaches, lifting the truck towards its gaping maw. Thinking quickly, Michelle scavenges a magazine, a lighter, and a whiskey bottle from the truck, concocting a Molotov cocktail. With a spark, she hurls it into the creature's mouth just as it draws near, causing a powerful explosion that sends the truck crashing to the ground. Miraculously surviving, Michelle sprints back to the car, swiftly starts it with the keys, and speeds away down the road. In her frantic escape, she inadvertently collides with Howard's mailbox, labeled 10 Cloverfield Lane. Switching on the radio for any semblance of information, she hears reports of reclaiming the southern seaboard from the alien onslaught. The announcer directs survivors to Baton Rouge for refuge, while urging those with combat or medical skills to head to Houston. Approaching a signpost offering paths to Baton Rouge straight ahead or Houston to the left, Michelle decisively steers left. As she drives, a thunderous clap reveals a massive alien hovercraft concealed within the clouds above.
And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.